West. Half-court shot. It's going to go up, and it's good! Jerry West with a half-court shot as the Lakers win. Mr. Clutch does it again.
Good evening and welcome, NBA fans. This is Kevin Harlan, alongside Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. And do we have a treat for you? We're firing up the Wayback Machine to watch a classic battle between the Lakers and the Hawks.
Well, and this game features two of the most exciting guards ever to play on the hardwood. You have Jerry West, the heart and soul of the Lakers, taking on Pistol Pete Maravich, who is just starting to make his own mark here in the NBA.
Those two guards will go right at each other too, Steve. I mean, both can drive and shoot. And I wouldn't be shocked or surprised to see them trade buckets back and forth all game long, trying to one-up each other.
The seasoned veteran West versus the young gunner Maravich. Two great guards on display as we get to see the Lakers and the Hawks. Taking a look who's out there for the Lakers right now. Mr. Clutch, Jerry West, and Gail Goodrich in the backcourt. Keith Erickson at the 3. Elgin Baylor in at the 4. And Wilt Chamberlain is at the center. On the Hawks side of things, Pistol Pete Maravich and Walt Hazzard comprise the guard duo. Lou Hudson is out there on the wing at small forward. And down low is Bill Bridges at the 4, with Walt Bellamy at the 5. There is that fast release from West.
That shot was possible because of Jerry West's super quick release.
And I can say this from personal knowledge. Jerry West was a great GM after his playing days. One of the best of all time.
West inside. Nice fake, but the layup off the mark.
And Bridges tough on the glass. Actually 19th all-time in NBA history in total rebounds.
Goodrich against Maravich. Again, the Hawks score. Going back to West in his GM duties, he was instrumental, Clark, in rebuilding the Lakers.
Yeah, he was. I mean, as a GM, he brought in both Shaq and Kobe. And that's something you can certainly hang your hat on in your career if you're Jerry West. I mean, he masterminded those Laker titles in the early 2000s. Ownership was strong, but he was critically important as an architect for those championship teams.
West kicks to Goodrich. Baylor passes to Erickson. Chamberlain dishes to Baylor. Whoops, anticipated the pass. Turnover.
Great job playing the passing lanes and forcing that turnover.
It's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
Well, that should be a rule. No layups. Protect the paint. Make them earn every point.
Yeah, I think that's just tough, hard-nosed, smash-mouth basketball. Make your opponent earn their points from the line. Don't give up any layup. Guys, you see Maravich out there. The stuff he would pull off on the floor was so far ahead of his time. I mean, light years ahead of his time. He completely changed how people dribbled and handled the ball.
Now, here is Chamberlain. Baylor gets to the rim again.
Took the contact, knocked it down, and now he'll get a free throw.
Boy, that's a nice finish right there. I mean, he didn't give up on that shot even though he got hit.
From about 16, can't get it to go. And the Lakers go with it the other way.
And Clark, getting back to what you talked about with Maravich, I mean, to call him a magician with the ball is an understatement. He was simply on another planet in terms of his dribbling, passing, and overall ball handling skills.
To the inside. Hazzard against West. 6 to shoot. With 1 on the clock. It's good on the putback.
That offense just keeps on clicking.
It sure does, Clark. They're getting high percentage looks and really taking advantage here.
Shoots it up. And the basket by Harrison. And at this point in the game, no three-point.
Back to when they used to shape shift and shift right back. Before I picked up the mic and started writing rhymes, I could open.
Celtics need a big stop here. Baylor working his way in. Oh, Russell sends it away. Bill Russell comes up big again.
We're going back to the birthplace of a rivalry, the Celtics and the Lakers in the 60s. Hi, everyone. Glad you could join us. This is Kevin Harlan with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg as we look back at one of the best rivalries in the NBA.
We get a chance to look at the tape of Bill Russell and his Celtics as they take on Jerry West and the Lakers, two great teams going head-to-head here in Boston.
And there are a lot of greats on display here beyond Russell and West. I mean, Elgin Baylor also is a factor, and I'm sure we'll see some great plays from Hondo, John Havlicek as well.
We'll see shortly if the Lakers can get the better of Russell's Celtics, who simply dominated the entire decade of the 60s. A look now at the Celtics side. Russell anchoring the middle as always. He's joined by Tom Sanders up front. Casey Jones runs the show at point. Out on the wings, it's Sam Jones and Havlicek. On the other side, the Lakers come out with Ellis in the middle. Rudy LaRusso and Elgin Baylor are the forwards on the floor. And the backcourt is Dick Barnett and Jerry West.
Well, with Russell, the one thing he was known for above all else was his ability to win. 11 rings in all, a record for a single player.
Havlicek against West. Baylor passes to Ellis. And good on the basket. Book it. Ellis has got his first bucket in this one. You know, Steve, you think about Russ, more rings than fingers. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and guys, he also won an NCAA title with USF. I mean, he might be the winningest athlete ever, much less NBA player. As a matter of fact, I think he may have won back-to-back titles at USF.
Great defense. And Elgin showing you why they would call him a rabbit. Well, what a leaper.
Here's Jones. Straight up. There's the block. The Lakers with a quick start to this game. Guys, they've been getting it done.
They sure have been. I mean, really looking good and sharp offensively.
Yeah, knocking down the open shots and really getting a nice flow to their game.
Recently, the Lakers are... That should be illegal, Kevin.
Well, it took a while, but somebody finally got a shot to go.
I was starting to get a little concerned for them. I mean, it hadn't been pretty to this point.
Passes it to Barnett. LaRusso. And Sanders pulls it down.
Well, you know what? All good things must come to an end, and they finally missed after making their first four.
A shot, and he connects with the jumper.
That shot there was from around modern three-point range.
But of course, the NBA three-point line wasn't introduced, Steve, until 1980.
Well, before then, you can see what a challenge it was to score inside. Defenses could just pack the paint, knowing they didn't have to recover out to that three-point line.
Shoots, and no one able to grab it as it goes out of bounds. Some changes for Boston. Heinsohn comes in for Sanders, and Siegfried subbed in for Jones. The Lakers also changing it up. Imhoff comes in for Ellis, and Nelson is subbed in for LaRusso.
West wasn't that big, but man, was he athletic. People forget about that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they say he could touch 16 inches above the rim at his peak. I mean, I believe it just watching him move.
Heinsohn the pass to Jones. No good.
kind of a waste of a possession there.
Absolutely empty trip. That's not the shots you're looking for in that situation.
18 feet away, rebounded by the Celtics.
Not a bad look, though. You like his chances to make that one.
Possession here for the Lakers. They want to get it down to Kareem, and they do. Rises up. Here comes the hook. Yes, sir! The Sky Captain strikes again. Good evening and welcome, everyone, as we take a look back at a classic matchup here on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan, joined by Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr. We're going to look back at the Celtics and the Lakers from the 80s.
So many stars out on display here, Kev. Kareem and Magic go toe-to-toe with Bird, McHale, and Parrott. You know it's going to be a close game that will most likely come down to a few big plays.
And these sides saw plenty of each other during the 80s, going against each other 3 times in the NBA Finals during that decade. Every time they met, it had Finals implications.
Kareem and the Lakers against Bird and the Celtics. What more could you ask for as we get underway? Look at the lineup now. The Sky Captain Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is in the middle. Magic Johnson and Byron Scott of the Laker backcourt. Providing the scoring up front, James Worthy and Green. For the Celtics, they'll have Robert Parrish at the center. Danny Ainge is joined by Dennis Johnson in the back. They are your point and shooting guards. Then that dynamic forward tandem of Larry Bird and Kevin McHale fill out the rest at the 3 and the 4.
I think one of the great things about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was his consistency as a player. He was so good for so long. In fact, it's difficult trying to figure out what was his best season.
They're working against the clock now. Here comes Derek Harper. Looking for Ewing. He gets it there. The turnaround Jay. Oh, what a shot. Patrick Ewing wins it with a fadeaway. The dagger from 18. Greetings from New York City. As we go back in time in our NBA archives for some of the great games of yesteryear. This one pits the young and talented Orlando Magic against the tough veteran squad of the New York Knicks.
And of course, I'm looking forward to watching the matchup at center. Patrick Ewing, a Hall of Fame center, right in the prime of his career, going up against Shaquille O'Neal, a surefire Hall of Famer.
And Shaq already in just his 3rd season in the NBA, the league's leading scorer, 2nd in field goal percentage, 3rd in rebounds, already a superstar.
Not to mention Penny Hardaway, an all-star starter in his 2nd season, averaging, 21 points, 7 assists, and...
How y'all doing out there? All right. Thank you for joining me this evening. How y'all feel? 'Cause I feel so